I'm Dr. Shraddha, dermatologist. So we'll be doing a series of videos on polycystic ovary syndrome with different experts. And why I've chosen polycystic ovary syndrome is because it's one of the commonest endocrinological problems that women see in their childbearing age. So, we dermatologists are the first to diagnose this problem because they come with severe acne. They have hirsutism, which is abnormal facial hair in a male-like distribution pattern, and they can also have hair loss, which is thinning of hair, which is called female pattern alopecia. Sometimes they can have acanthosis nigricans, that is velvety pigmentation on the sides of the neck and folds. This is because of obesity and insulin resistance that is seen with polycystic ovary syndrome. But whatever we do, the mainstay of treatment in polycystic ovary syndrome is lifestyle modification, and that's why we have an expert today, Shiba. She's a fitness expert and she's an ACE certified personal trainer and a CrossFit level 2 trainer. She's also a fitness nutritionist as well. So hi Shiba.
Hi Shraddha.
So in polycystic ovary syndrome, it's so important that they keep their weight down, and you've worked with a lot of patients with polycystic ovary syndrome and you've helped them bring their weight down. So what kind of diet do you actually tell them to take?
So when, like you said, doctor, when they come in, we actually analyze their lifestyle because that's the predominant cause of all these issues. So the main issue is that they need to work on a low carb, that's a low GI diet, and a low carb diet basically. And we also tell them that the main thing that they have to ward off is anything off the shelf. So include fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, legumes, lentils, all that. So basically food that's going to keep their insulin levels in check.
Keep their insulin levels low. Yes. So, is there any specific amount of carbohydrates that you will tell them that is permissible for them to take?
So, generically, there are many suggestions, like 60%, and a certain percent, 30% of protein or 10% of fat. But then we do it on case basis. So, you do a macro and calculation of how much the person requires based on how their weight gain is, and then calculate accordingly.
So they need to see somebody specific. They just can't follow off the net, or we get a lot of follow this diet and things like that. That's
you should never do it. Like even me, I'm going to give you a meal suggestion, but you must always go to a certified dietitian or like a medical practitioner, someone like you, and to get guidance as to who they should approach first. Because this is a medical condition, so they have to approach somebody who's got a medical background
to get a good proper calculation of the diet. And what do you mean by a keto diet? How different is it from low carb diet?
So keto also is low carb but is high in fat. Now the problem is that you need to keep your fat also in check in this. So keto is not advisable for anybody with PCOS. You'd rather go with something which is a nutritionally balanced and a mindful eating plan.
So what is low glycemic index diet or low sugar diet? Does it come within this, or
it does. See, pretty much it does come because it keeps your insulin sensitivity in place. So you need to be following something. So our Indian diet is great because you have the black eyed peas, chana, all those things is really good because it's fibrous, it keeps you full, and also keeps your sugar levels low. So it has to be followed like that.
So I came across somewhere there's something called as this advanced glycation end products, and it's quite harmful for patients with PCOS. So what are the foods that actually produce this AGE?
Basically, AGE is foods that are produced under high heat. So anything. So if you try to analyze, it's anything that's been off the shelf. So off the shelf products are subjected to heavy heat, and then they are processed and stored. So off-the-shelf products is a no-no. Plus also when you're cooking at home, too much of boiling, too much of deep-fried products should be avoided.
So that's fine. So basically what would you suggest for these people? What can they take and what should they avoid?
So like we spoke, anything that's off the shelf, anything that's preserved for a long time, anything that you buy from the shop, please avoid, because you need to be eating fresh food, vegetables, legumes, greens, fruits, seeds, nuts. All that is mandatory for you, and of course everything in a portion that's been prescribed by your medical practitioner. So which is what's going to help you in modifying your entire lifestyle. by eating right.
Okay, fine. And is there any specific vitamin supplements, like vitamin D is good
Yes.
for polycystic ovary syndrome? So you do recommend them
Yes,
to
vitamin D
supplement
is-
with
yes,
vitamin D if they have a
Yes.
deficiency. Okay.
But
fine.
even otherwise, having vitamin D rich foods like fish and
Mhm.
eggs is good. And if you're not eating that, because we don't get enough sunlight these days,
Okay.
so getting a supplement is good.
And what about intermittent fasting? Now, a lot of people I see keep doing intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Is that good for polycystic
It is a
ovary
no for
syndrome?
PCOS. It's because it's going to completely topple your sugar levels, and then
Okay.
you'll end up having dizziness because your blood
Okay.
sugar will drop severely low at that
Okay.
point during the fasting window,
Okay. Okay.
and that's not good for you.
So it's basically low carb and low sugar diet
Yes.
that you would recommend.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Shiva, very much.
Thank you, doctor.